Now let's go to the execution. You are now gathered knowledge and now comes execution. So how to execute your knowledge and your MCQ skill? That is by giving tests. It's very important to give tests. It's very important to give mini tests. It's very important to give subject wise tests. It's most important to give grand tests. So now let me talk in detail about grand tests and clear all myths and give you absolute clarity about it. See, uh, solving grand test is very important. It's the most important thing. I would like to give you an example of my senior who scored AIR 4 in NEET PG, AIR 5 in INICET. He had solved over 300 MC 300 grand tests in his entire PG preparation. Can you imagine? 300 plus, 300 to 350 plus. I might have hardly solved 30, 40, 50 GTs, and everyone might be doing maximum that thing. So that person solved 300 plus GTs, and then he got such a great rank. So only giving GTs is important. Should you follow his path? No, you shouldn't follow his path or my path. You should make your own path. You cannot follow anyone blindly. The whatever previous steps I have told you, those all are essential steps, and you cannot skip any of them. You cannot skip the knowledge part. You cannot crack an exam just by solving MCQs but not reading notes or not watching videos. You cannot crack any exam without having MCQ practice and without having the skill just by reading notes and notes alone. You cannot crack any exam without execution part, without giving GTs, even if you have knowledge and skill. And you cannot crack an exam just by giving GTs and not having knowledge and skill. All these three are equally important. So for GT, you have to start immediately. Whenever you are thinking that, okay, now I am starting my NEET PG preparation or my any INICT preparation from now, I want to start preparing for it. The day you decide, that day itself, you have to start giving duties. No matter how many subjects you have read, no matter even if you have read a single word, single sentence, single subject, it doesn't matter. You have to give a GT today. See how many can you score out of 200. How many can you get correct? Can you get one correct? Can you get two correct? Can you get 10 correct? Can you get 20 correct? Can you get 100 correct? Can you get 60 correct? It doesn't matter. If you are seeing shorts and reels, I will also upload my GT journey. Everyone, every topper starts from low scores in GT, low corrects in GT, and then he or she builds on from that. So it's the same journey which everyone has to go through from low scores in GT to high scores. There is no shortcut to it, and it will never happen that if you have prepared all subjects, then you will, if you will give GT, you will get good marks. No, you keep on giving GTs, you keep on improving yourself, and then you keep on getting more and more marks. You keep on improving your GT scores. So you have to give one GT today itself if you are starting your PG preparation, and then you have to create your baseline that okay, even if I haven't read a single word, this is the amount of correct I will get. And if I want to get this amount of correct in my real exam, or if I want to get this much of rank, then I have to do this many correct, and from this much correct I have to reach there. So this is the gap I need to fill, and this much amount of hard work I need to do. So that's why creating a baseline is very important. Now comes the GT part, from where you have to give GT. I already told in my previous section that you have to follow the same source for GT. If you are doing Marrow, you have to give GTs of Marrow. Yeah, in the end, when there is 1 2 months left, you have given a lots of GTs of Marrow, and then if you identify certain pattern of Marrow that they are only asking certain types of topics again and again, then just to be assured and just to have a different mindset and a slightly different type of questions, then you can go to another source. That also you have to just give free GTs and free mocks which are available on all the other apps. So you can give one GT of or different apps for just for practice and just to have different type of questions and different mindset. Other than that, you have to stick to the same source itself for giving GT. Now, the thing is about CBT, like computer-based test. So before exam, you need to give at least one, and if required, two, three CBTs. So they can act as GT also from different source, and they would give you they would give you a feel of real exam, what it would feel like. So it is very important to give at least one CBT so that you have the idea of how the real exam would be. Because in CBT there will be a hall in which, just like you, a lot of unknown people will come to that center. You will have to reach that center before 2 3 hours before. You will get acquainted with that. You will have to do the formalities. Then you will be assigned a computer. Then you will have to sit there. Then you have to wait for 30 minutes 1 hour or so doing nothing, like because you won't be allowed any cell phones or anything, no accessories with you, only admit card will be allowed with you, and maybe water bottle, and water bottle is also not allowed in real exam. So nothing would be allowed. You have to sit idle. You can't do anything. So you will get a knack of that. You will get a practice of that. Then a test will start. You have to sit there on those chairs which might not be so uncomfortable. Different types of computer screens, different types of mouses in which click might not be that good. So all those things, there might be some glitch in computer. So suddenly you might have to change your computer. So in real exam, if certain scenarios come, you don't get panic and you are acquainted with the environment, the procedures, the formalities, etc. That's why it's very important to give CP. Once you give, how to review it. That is also a very important aspect of solving a GT. A lot of people do a lot of mistakes in giving GT and reviewing it. The first and foremost step of reviewing a GT is that you have to review the GT as soon as possible. So try to give GT when it is near the deadline if you want to get a real rankings, etc. And if you are not so much keen about getting the real ranks, etc., then give once the solutions have already arrived so that you can review it immediately. There is no point of reviewing a GT after 4 or 5 days after giving a GT if you have already given the GT, because you have already forgotten a lot of things. So it's very important to check where you got the questions wrong, what wrong did were you understanding in that thing, and also that uh, if you are getting certain things correct, also was it by fluke, was it a tukka which got correct, or were you thinking right? Were you thinking right and you got the right answer, or were you thinking wrong but still you got the right answer? All those things are very important to check, and all those things are only be remembered if you remember why you marked that question. So first and the foremost thing is to review it immediately. Now, how much time you should take to review a GT? See, initially it might happen that you might take a lot of time to review a GT, but then eventually it will narrow it down. I would say that maybe 2 3 days, 4 days at max. Like, yeah, 4 days is the maximum thing. Uh, you have to solve minimum 50 questions, review 50 questions a day of a GT. And you can complete it in 4 days. So 200 questions, 50 questions each. So you can complete it in 4 days, but it shouldn't be longer than that. And yeah, the thing is, many people just give GT for the sake of giving GT because everyone is told that you should always keep on giving GT. That's why they give it. They don't review it. If you don't review GT, it is as good as not giving a GT. So reviewing a GT is the most important thing, because a GT is not just a GT. It is a 200 question bank, a 200 question, 200 MCQs, and 200 topics. So there are 200 opportunities to increase your knowledge and gain understanding, get a better knowledge, better concept. So that's why it's very important to review a GT and also read the explanation of it. So a lot of people don't read explanation of it. Yeah, if it's taking a lot of time, of, if you're reading explanation, then it's okay if you skip some part of it. But I would personally recommend to read that and review that explanation. It's very important. And also read the pearls. So, and you don't have to learn those explanations. A lot of students also do that mistake. They keep on learning those explanations, learning those points, and waste a lot of time in that. So that a GT review takes a lot of time. Uh, it should be a good review, but it should not take too long, and you are reviewing a GT for an entire life, for days and months and weeks. It should not be like that. And a lot of people also make a mistake. Then there's some teachers, some students, some seniors, some toppers say that you should make a GT review book. So they keep on writing all the explanations of whatever GTs, whatever mistakes, whatever wrong they have got in GT. That is also a big, big mistake and big blunder, and you should never do that. You have to understand certain things. If you are not understand those things, then you have to read from your main notes. If there is something which you feel that this is a very important thing, it's not there in your notes, then you have to add it in your notes. But you don't have to write all explanation all wrong in your GT review book. That is a big blunder which you shouldn't be making. Now when I say this, and now when a lot of people say this, a lot of people do mistake of writing all the extra things of a topic in their main notes and keep bulking their main notes. Whatever extra thing about the topic comes in the GT, they keep on writing and adding it in their main notes, which also should not be a do. You will ultimately go on making a textbook which you will not be able to revise in the end when you are revising the entire subject. Only those things which are most important, which are asked frequently, and which is not there in your notes, that things you should add it in your main notes. Other than that, you just have to read, understand, and then move on. That is how you should be doing a GT review. Now, how to go about doing the subjects, which subjects to start with, etc. There are a lot of questions in mind. So this is one strategy which my senior told me, which I followed, and I am also passing it to you. That he used to do. He used to give a GT. Then whichever last subject or last three subjects were weakest shown in the GT review, he used to do that subject next, then again give a GT, and then continue the same process again and again. I also did the same thing. I used to give GT, see which is my weakest subject. Sometimes what happens, especially in Mero, that the weakest subject is always shown a short subject because the questions of it are asked very less. So even if you get one wrong, the percentage or percentile might decrease a lot. So it would all constantly show you the your weakest subject being a short subject. So you cannot go on solving short subjects, short subjects only. So that's why last three weakest subjects or last five weakest subjects is a good thing. In which if you feel that you have recently done a short subject, then you can do a long subject from those last three or last five subjects. So that's how you have to keep on moving on from one subject to another. For I somehow saw a video in which a person told me, which I found very useful, that what you have to do if you are getting uh, just two wrong in a short subject and just three wrong in a big subject, then that is a good thing and that is allowed. More than that, then needs improvement. That was general rule. I have not personally used that thing per se, but I found it useful that okay, maybe two, max to max two wrong is okay in a short subject in which five questions or so are asked, and in which more than five, like 10 questions, 20 questions are asked, then in that three, four, five wrong max to max is okay. In no subject, you should be having more than five wrong. That's what I would say, and that also one thing which I liked. So that is the thing. Now there is a question that which subject, like as I told, some people might say you should only focus on short subjects. Some people might say you should only focus on long subjects. That is not correct. See, all subjects are important, all 19 subjects are important, and all should be done correctly, perfectly, in a very good manner. See, yeah, it's obvious that in which more questions are asked, you need to prepare it more and it would take a longer time. That's why the subject is lengthy and that's why there are more questions asked. Let's say medicine, for example. Medicine is very vast, very long, very lengthy. That's why more questions are asked in it. If there is certain subject which is short, let's say psychiatry, if it's a short subject, it's naturally short, it's not lengthy. So definitely lesser question would be asked. So if you think that way, the proportion or the amount of time you have to give is same because it will take lesser time to prepare psychiatry, you have to give lesser time to it. Because it will take more time to prepare medicine, you have to give more time to it. And that's why there will be more questions asked. So that's how it goes. So that's why the proportion of time you should give should be the appropriate because they're also asking it appropriately only. So that's how you should move. And solving GTs is very, very important. That's what I would say. So yeah, that is all about GT. I hope I have cleared all doubts like regarding GT, which platform to use or how to solve, how to review, etc.